No Trials the Podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of Cardcaptor Sakura, Sharon and Friends is a popular ongoing fanfic by Wishlove, and it's based off of Clamp's Cardcaptor Sakura. Usually we do a deep dive of a new chapter, but as we are in hiatus mode, we are continuing our Diana special.
Boop, boop, boop.
Okay, this is the home stretch of Arc 2. Now, we'll start with Chapter 34, Beyond the Widest Ocean, audiobook chapter comment.
The Takashi and Chiharu drama is boiling. Preya must be living for this, lol. C and T are pretty cute and relatable.
That they are.
I knew we learned that Sakura knew about the twins in Arc 2, but I completely forgot it was in this chapter. I love how she defended her reasoning to shout on. She did have some good points. So far, it has worked out. Aaron ends up being her ally. Now, if Erika would just do the same.
Oh, let's hope.
Yeah. The sound effects, the show host, this was fun.
Yes, I second that. I missed the MC after he was gone.
Why? Thank you very much. I've always liked the scene between Kai and Chiharu. Is this the only time they ever interact?
Well, I don't know how, they're going to be in a journalism club together. They're going to be working at the hospital together. So I don't know if we'll get, actual FaceTime, but they will be running in the same circles.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever, alone together again. But, yeah, they're on Starcross together.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think this is the last time it's just
one-on-one.
Though. Mm-hmm. When Shoudon said that everyone he has loved dies, I immediately thought of the April Fool's massacre.
Oh, very timely. We're a couple days after April 1st as we
Yes,
record
we
this.
I completely forgot about the Sakura and Takashi scene. I love this. I like how Wish-chan has managed to give each of Sakura's friends some subplot in NT and have them give advice / share their views with Sakura.
I like that too. It's not easy with a fic this elaborate, but she does it well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love this so much is just, like we've talked about before, just the world building of it. And to me, that just goes into the world building of CCS, and I'm just obsessed, obviously. Completely random, but when Takashi said, lies, lies, and more lies, I couldn't help but think of him as a politician.
Wow.
Cries in American election year. Everyone pray for me. This line stood out to me. She wished she was a little bird with wings to soar up to the horizon and look down upon the earth. I know the whole bird thing is symbolism for Miho, but I couldn't help but think about the fact that birds, the phoenix, are the Mizuki family patron animal. I know Kai has a lot of bird symbolism, but this is the first time I noticed it for Miho.
We definitely did not pick on that.
Absolutely not.
That is a very cool observation.
And you know what? I just connected in my head, too. Their patron animal is a phoenix, and Miho literally rised from the ashes of her house.
That she did.
And her magic is literally about fire.
Yes.
What
these
the crap?
Wow. I don't know if this was, intentional or just, all coincidence, but hey, it works.
And really, could you say that about a lot of the Mizukis? They go through all these trials and tribulations, but they always go through, a rebirth or, a, kind of like how, they rise from the ashes,
Miara.
like Mizuki. Yeah, like the original. She was one of the only ones to kind of make it out of that whole thing. And then she may or may not have continued the lineage with, what's his name? Ryuichi?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Ryuichi, so... Anyways, wow, that just made me go on a whole tangent. But anyways, thanks for sharing. Take care.
That's a really cool observation. Thanks for sharing that with us, Diana.
Super cool.
Okay, now for Chapter 34's Beyond the Widest Ocean podcast comment. Lol, I think I've mentioned this before, but while I never forget that Landon is blonde, I I tend to forget he apparently wore glasses. Very Ariel. Yay at Miss L for saving her soccer team. I second what Melanie said. I would love to read Miss L's notes. I don't have evidence to prove Preya's theory about the veil and the 5-4 scroll, but I vaguely remember this being the explanation, or at least what I think happened. We need to ask Wish-Chen. I need to look back at my previous comments, but was it really Kai who stole the 5-4 scroll from Sakura? Could the twins have stolen it from her? Because why wouldn't the twins want the scroll? But if Kai stole the scroll from Sakura, why would that lift the effect of the veil? But if the twins had the scroll and Kai stole it from them, wouldn't he have known that they were the Chang descendants and that their earrings was the last treasure? New trials where you have more questions than answers.
For real though.
It's like, I think of those like detective boards with pictures and the strings and the connections. Basically, that's what it is.
What's that gif where, or gif, however you say it, but like where the lady's making like the puzzled face and then you see all the like graphs and stuff flying by?
Yes. I will go back and check and let you know. Lol. Please, Diana.
Thank you, third host.
LMAO at Kai thinking he couldn't be recognized. Because you made fun of Superman, I feel compelled to share a fun story. So, for the longest time, I agreed with everyone on how people in comics must be dumb not to recognize Clark as Superman and Diana as Wonder Woman, because it's pretty obvious who they are, right? Well, I am proof that this stuff happens, because it's happened to me multiple times. One day, I put on regular contacts, I wear glasses, and let my hair down, I usually had it in a ponytail, and went to school. The amount of people who genuinely looked baffled and genuinely asked me who I was because they couldn't recognize me left me stunned. And I didn't do anything special. No makeup, no colored contacts, no jewelry, no new haircut, nothing. And these people who literally saw me every single day for months and months. But you could tell that they weren't exaggerating. They laughed once they realized who I was. That's awesome.
Wow.
Well, and for, you know, in Clark Kent / Superman's defense, Clark Kent is like bumbling, klutzy, like kind of a doofus, and then Superman is very suave. So like, of course, people are not going to put the two of them together.
Diana, though, she's like the most beautiful woman on the planet. I don't know who anyone couldn't recognize. By the way, Diana, are you Diana after Wonder Woman? Are you Diana after Anna Green Gable's best friend? Or Diana, like Princess Diana? Would love to know.
Now this is becoming a Q&A for Diana. I didn't notice Sakura has dropped the kun. Thanks for sharing. Take care. Okay. We're moving on with the timeline, and we're jumping into the Chiharu and Takashi Sincerity audiobook chapter.
I forgot this was a dual perspective. It always shocks me how kids can sometimes be so sweet and innocent, yet sometimes be so ruthlessly mean. I know this is about Chiharu and Takashi, but Takashi's backstory about how his mom isn't in the picture, how his father doesn't like thinking about her, how Takashi looks like her, and how his parents used to fight totally made me think about Clow.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Cloud tells Tomeo something similar when she meets him in the fantasy in chapter 60. I'm going to take this as another reason why Iro sees Takashi as a kindred spirit.
Oh my gosh, I never even thought about making that connection with Chloe. Oh, wow. Our minds are blown, Diana.
It just makes 100% sense.
That is such a strong takeaway from this like fluff side chapter.
Wow. Oh my god, I love little Chiharu so much. I would have loved to be her friend. We got a Suwama backstory.
I'm really glad Wish-chan wrote that up. It made it like extra special.
Mm-hmm. The proposal! This was so cute and innocent and sweet. And the image of them playing family. No wonder Preya loves them so much. I hope we get to see Chiharu and Takashi as adults with children once the NT epilogues comes around. Thanks for sharing. Have a nice week.
Oh my god, I would love that. I would love that so much. I'm like melting all over again.
I would make a special trip back up to Canada just to sit next to you and just watch you read that in person.
Okay, now for the podcast comments. LMAO, I never thought I'd hear about Gilbert and Anne in this podcast.
I just brought it up again.
This is great. This is great. Well, you know, Anne of Green Gables, a Canadian classic, so I mentioned it, and it's one of, it looks like it's one of Melanie's favorites.
Absolutely. I own all the books. I own the 1980s version is my absolute favorite, but I own every other rendition of Anne of Green Gables that's ever been made. Like, I'm like obsessed with it, and it's one of my favorite books of all time.
Aww.
Anyway.
I have to agree with Melanie. I too would make an exception for Gilbert. Heart. Preya fangirling over this chapter is so cute. Thank you, thank you. As a kid, I never thought much about Takashi's eyes, other than he reminded me of Brock from Pokemon.
100%.
Somehow, I equated that to a type of funny but annoying character. Then briefly, as I grew older, I wondered if Takashi needed glasses. He distracts people with stories so that no one can tell him he's squinting because he needs glasses. But leave it to Wish-chan to give him a reason for wearing this mask. Oh, poor Takashi.
It's so ironic that I never thought that, and here I literally work in eyes, and I never thought, maybe he's just squinting because he needs glasses. Although in my defense, I read this way before I even knew I was going to work in ophthalmology, though.
Yes, that's true. And this last comment is in reference of the fan art that I shared, and she says, "Aw, Wish-chan's dedication was so cute. You deserve it, Preya." Thanks for sharing. Have a nice week. I got so much love from this little chapter, and just the fact that this was the first thing that I read from New Trials that made me discover this whole journey that's been in my life for, 20 years now? Yeah, 21 years, because I discovered it in 2003, and March 2003, so now that we're April 2024. So yes, this has been in my life for a good 21 years.
Good gravy. What is time? What is life?
Okay. Now we're moving on to the penultimate chapter of Arc 2, 35, It Must Rain First.
Your take on the Chiharu and Takashi skit is in the top of your performances. I enjoyed it so much.
Yay!
Thank you. I had a whole lot of fun with that. Was the second event at the Best Couple contest always this intense? Because, wow, how did they let teenagers compete in this race? A bridge that was barely keeping itself together, an underwater cave, and having kids swimming with their legs tied? This is a lawsuit waiting to happen, LOL. Don't get me wrong, this makes for an entertaining read and maybe even talent show, but I certainly didn't remember this being as action-packed as it is. The sound effects, the monster growl surprised me so much. You outdid yourself this chapter.
That you did.
Chiharu and Takashi! Heart, heart, heart. Wolfie-chan!
Yes.
Multiple exclamations. Jumping way ahead, but the exchange between Sakura and Shaoran on how Sakura knew Wolfie-chan was the dark force and how she still cared for him reminded me of Liyun with Byakugo-chan.
Yes.
Actually, the whole exchange/scene made me think about chapter 73 with Byakugo-chan. Oh, and it also made me think about the philosophical and ethical differences and dilemmas.
Mm-hmm. I haven't revisited chapter 73 in so long. Because when I did my reread, I think I went all the way up to chapter 70. And this was probably like 2018 or 2019 or something. And I'm like, oh, maybe Wish-chan's going to update. ...
We love you. So skip ahead this part if you don't want Arc 4 spoilers for whatever reason, but Byakugo-chan is a kitten that Leon finds in chapter 73, like Diana said, and it turns out that it is the Wrath? Or something, right? It turns into a beast, and then it like overtakes Shaoran's sister Futi, who's still reeling from like
her grief.
Her grief.
Yeah.
And she tries to attack Jin Yu. Yeah. Or something. Yeah. But anyways, that's what Diana's referring to. So yeah, I can see how it kind of ties into this werewolf, and yeah, for sure. I'm always glad when Sakura and Shaoran find the last music box.
It was right under their nose.
Thanks for sharing. I wish you a great day.
I've never been able to figure out how sandcastles work. Speaking of sandcastles, did you know that there's a man in Brazil who lives in one? That's wild. I did not know that. And as far as sandcastles work, it's just compacting like wet sand together. Like just use water and sand to make wet sand, and then that's how you build your structure. But to actually live in one, wow, that's mind blowing.
I mean, if people can do igloos, I mean, that's crazy though. That's cool.
Thanks for the shout out, Preya. I have my other notes for Arc 3 in my Kindle. Long story short, there were a couple of months where I thought I had lost all of my annotations. They're saved now. Oh boy. I hadn't even noticed that it had been so long since Sakura had to battle a dark force. Nice catch, Preya. Oh, well, thank the Dark Force guide. LMAO at most of the couples being economic partnerships. Yep. To give my 2 cents, I too believe there are multiple soulmates, each with different purposes. Whether we meet all of them during one lifetime is up to debate. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the soulmate discussion, because this comes back in Arc 4 between Ariel and Tomoyo during the camping trip. And it's subtly brought back after the fashion competition when Ariel is helping Tomoyo clean up, and they end up holding the same red string, which is a reference of the red string of fate in East Asian cultures. Melanie is scraping her jaw off the floor.
How do I not remember this? See? They're literally holding a red thread together.
To come.
Okay, sorry, continue.
I love your new child's memory, Diana. It's really great because, like, even like now that I'm reading this, like, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that happening, sort of. But Melanie is like, what? That happened? It's like in Arc 2 when Shaoran almost kisses Sakura at the racetrack, and then every time I read that, I'm like, what is this?
And I literally just reread Arc 4, so I don't know what my issue is. But no, because normally I remember every tiny little bitty scene, even sort of involving Tomoyo and Iro. So, wow. Okay.
And of course, soulmates and reincarnations are brought up in Arc 4 whenever Mizuki Mika is mentioned. Yes.
Mika, we were right.
Yeah, Mika, yeah, that's the one that Chloe loved. Yes, yes. Regarding Ryuren, Nadeshiko, and Fujitaka, I think Ryuren was Nadeshiko's soulmate, which type I have yet to decide. However, I've always been more partial to Fujitaka, so this may be my bias seeping through. If I follow Clamp canon, then Fujitaka and Nadeshiko are destined to be because they exist in Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle. The lore is complicated, but they are the parents to Sakura and Toya in TRC. If I follow New Trials canon, then Fujitaka and Nadeshiko are also meant to be. Two instances of this is through Nadeshiko's special on FF.net and through some conversations Sakura had with Yue and Ariel in Chapter 69. We find out Nadeshiko's soul is similar to Mika's, and we're also told that even if things had been different, Fujitaka would have still found Nadeshiko and would have still had a family with her. Anyway, I'll stop here and address this again once we get to Arc 4. Lol. Wow. Yeah. No, we all have the Fujitaka bias. Like, Nadeshiko and Ryuren, like, they had their good moments, but boy, did they have their bad moments. And,
yeah.
God, were they young.
Well, yeah, they were. But then, I mean, Nadeshiko was also young when she met Fujita, too. Yeah.
But she had way more experience in the matters of the heart. And that stuff really makes you grow up fast.
I've always had thoughts about that, though, of like, would Pete and I have still met each other even if I hadn't decided to work at that specific Applebee's? Like, you know, we've literally have talked about it before, and we really do think we would have met eventually, because even if he had never moved to the area where the Applebee's was, he had lived in like this college town in Lawrence. He lived in Lawrence for like ever. And I used to go to Topeka all the time to go see friends. We would constantly go out to Lawrence. So we're like almost pretty sure we would have met in Lawrence at some point. But whether or not he says he would have had the guts to actually come up and talk to me is up for discussion. Because he's like, you know, you never would have approached me. You would have made me do it. I was like, oh, 100%.
Oh, for my end, it's like... So Cameron, he actually worked in Nunavut for a couple of years during the pandemic, and he would like work there for a few months and come back to Montreal for a few weeks and then work there for a few months, etc., etc. And he came back in the summer of what was it? Yeah, 2021. And he was going to go back, but then he got a job in Montreal and decided to stay in Montreal. And that's how come we were both in Montreal at the same time when I was swiping, and I saw him on Hinge, and I'm like, oh, he's cute, and we went on our first date. We hit it off, but he was like literally back in the city permanently just for a few months at that point.
I remember when you sent me his picture, I was like, dang, he's cute.
Yes. You're the face reader, and you said, watch out for this one. He's a ladies' man. And what's funny is that you weren't wrong. he had quite a colorful past. But no, after meeting me, definitely a one-woman man.
Aww.
Thank you for sharing. Have a lovely week and a wonderful St. Valentine's Day. Heart. Okay, and this is Chapter 35, Part B of It Must Rain First. Hearing Preya's excitement over Takashi and Chihiro is so cute. I know I mentioned this in the audiobook chapter, but Sharon killing Wolfie-chan gave me parallels to Leiyun killing Miyako-chan. And I guess, in a way, it reminds me of Moonstone with Ryuichi and Risa, since Mayura was supposed to perform an exorcism or something. Whoa, I don't know about that. That's a New Child's factoid that totally went over my head.
Baffled face, that's what I am right now.
Risa intervened in the hopes of healing and saving Mooni-chan, only to realize she couldn't, and that's when Ryuichi stepped up and made a contract. Your grade 5 lore.
That last part rang a bell, but the first part definitely didn't. But wow.
Hearing you giggle over the Sakura and Sharon moments gave me life. Too cute. We'll take what we can get.
For sure.
I think you might be right. I don't recall Wolfie-chan ever being called Eagle in Arc 3. Thank you.
If there's anyone's memory, I would bet on it's yours, Diana.
Thank you for sharing. Have a lovely week and wonderful St. Valentine's Day, heart. And now this is it. The chapter 36 for There to Be a Rainbow audiobook chapter comment. Oof, the lengthy one.
Wow. Okay. Let's see here. Lol at public speaking fear. Public speaking is super nerve-wracking. Melanie, the music box was such a nice touch. Thank you. Not me grinning like an idiot when Sharon told Sakura that his most valuable treasure would not fit inside the music box. Also me. I mean, if you use the little card on her, it could be possible.
She's not wrong.
I didn't even think about that. Sharon's I don't know what I like most about her answer made me squeal.
Yeah, like, and it could go both ways, too. It's like, oh, I don't even know what I like about her. Or it's like, I don't know what I like most about her.
Like in theater when they would teach us, like, there's, like, 30 different ways to say the same word, you know. I love how Takashi knew almost all the riddles. This is very much in character.
Yes, and yes.
Ha ha ha! At Miho calling Aaron out on talking to himself. You know, their conversation stood out to me because this may be the first time I see such parallels between Aaron and Mikei. Besides being overprotective older brothers, I'll bring this back in later chapters, so remind me, LOL.
I like that observation.
At shouldn't he have always stayed by you and looked after his little sister? He betrayed you. You must hate him, Aaron said softly. Betrayal is the greatest of sins, and betrayal of friends, let alone blood, is the most Hold on, let me do this in my Aaron voice. At shouldn't he have always stayed by you and looked after his little sister? He betrayed you. You must hate him, Aaron said softly. Betrayal is the greatest of sins, and betrayal of friends, let alone blood, is the most unforgivable crime. Most unforgivable then. You know who I'm thinking of? OG twins in a G5, of course. As for betrayal of blood, I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, and this is a crack theory, but I immediately thought of Cloud's generation, specifically Ryojiro's hypothetical twin, who I may or may not believe to be Mika. More on that in the future. Side note, I wonder how Aaron's last sentence was supposed to end.
Yeah, because, like, from Aaron's point of view, he didn't leave his sister. Kai did. So, I think it's like, he thinks he's better than Kai in such a way. That's what, that's the vibe that I got from that quote.
I wonder if he was going to say more unforgivable than the person you love, maybe. Because then maybe that would be like insinuating what happens with Nadesco and Ryurin, and maybe setting things up for, you know, a big thing to happen. Oh, with, we know the Sakura and Shout-On betrayal does happen, you know, so maybe, I don't know, that's just where my brain goes. Moving on. As much as I love SNS, I'm so happy that Chiharu and Takashi won. That whole section was my favorite part of the chapter, the way Sakura saw that C&T deserved the prize, the way Erika knew she was defeated, and the way everyone reacted and celebrated. The little bit of info we get on Aki and Aaron ruffling Erika's hair, it was just beautiful. Great job to Melanie and Wishchan. Oh, shoot. By the way, Melanie, I love your take on Kiro laughing at Shout On. It was so much fun.
Yes, it was. You do the best, Kiro-chan.
Because he was so rusty, because I hadn't used him
Yeah.
in so long, so
Yeah.
it took me a minute
He's
to
stashed
find him
away
again.
for most of the fic.
He was stashed away, and I had to remember what his voice sounded like. 180, but how could I forget that this chapter was the first time we learn about magician levels? And how could I forget that this is the first chapter in which Aaron tries to rebel against the Dark Ones? Oh boy, if he only knew what will happen in Arc 3. And lastly, the plague foreshadow. I kid you not. I was eating popcorn while listening to the audiobook, and I almost choked.
Oh my gosh. Glad you're okay, Diana.
I'm just laughing because that's 100% something I would do, except I can't eat popcorn. I feel like the riddle was foreshadowing other things besides the wave, and yep, we caught on to that during the podcast. Let's see.
It's the riddle's voice.
Okay, thank you. Let me try to remember what it was. Listen carefully the first time, for some words are said only once. Use your 5 senses wisely, for you will regret it when you can't, the riddle said, rather vexed. I know he was talking about Sakura not understanding what he was saying in his previous riddle, but those words immediately made me think of Arc 3, when Sakura and Kai are affected by the wave. And, I forgot the wave comes back and...
I remember... the wave wasn't captured yet.
And I think we all forgot, didn't we? Because we were all like, wasn't the wave captured? And we
No.
were just like, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It just went
remember
away.
that.
Because I remember
remember
the wave took away Kai's hearing. And
That's what it was.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think even Sakura, I feel that she lost her hearing as well, because that's when the telepathic connection with Sharon really came into play.
Yes. Yeah, and then I just remember all of us were talking in the discussion. We were like, wasn't the wave captured? Like,
Well, you know what?
You made a mistake.
The thing is, though, they're not. It's not only that, but Clamp has a wave card that was never captured. That never. So basically, CCS already has a canon wave card. So I think that was where the discussion also came from. The fact that wave is canon.
Yeah.
And then Wish-chan's like, well, we never saw it being captured, so this is how it could be captured. Hee hee.
I remember that now. And then I also thought about the veil in Arc 4. Silly chasers of rainbows humans are, always chasing, never finding. What's the point of following the rainbow's end, only to fall off a cliff? The riddle continued. I almost choked. I thought about Nadesco in Arc 3, Reset in the Past, and Sakura in Arc 3 finale, and Arc 4 camping trip. I know they fall off the cliff for different reasons, but I feel like this applies. And I guess this can apply to Ryurin in Arcs 3 and 4, but for other reasons. Riddle stated, the one with 1,000 faces took black wings and left his little sister. Search in vain for a lost brother, for she will never find him by looking. He may be far, he may be near, he may be everywhere. Stare into the mirror to find out the truth, but look for him all she wants, for he will never be the same dear brother again. Doesn't she know things can never return to the way they used to be?
Ooh.
The Nikkei and Kai foreshadow. It was here all along. And I feel like this can apply to Kai when he tries to become Nikkei again.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for this arc. This was so fun and so full of action. Till next time, take care. Yay!
Okay, now for the part A of For There to Be a Rainbow podcast comment. Now it's time for the podcast comment of part A of For There to Be a Rainbow. Diana says, I love Michelle's comments. I know that feeling of taking quick / chicken scratch notes and wondering, what does that mean? What enlightenment did past me see that I can't recall? I still would love to read the comments, though. Sometimes it's fun to see people's unfiltered reactions and thought processes. Well, lucky for us, Michelle was kind enough to post her thoughts from arcs 1 and 2 on Sakura's birthday a couple days ago. So that's on the Facebook group. I used to not write down my notes because I too tend not to know what on earth I wrote at the time. But when I began to comment on Preya's blog, I did feel the need to highlight and make incoherent comments in my old Kindle. For a couple of months, I thought I had lost all of my notes and connections. Thank goodness they're still around. Preya's blog, NT the audiobook, and NT the podcast are the closest I'll ever be to the aesthetically pleasing book annotation girlies online share. Lol. Glad to be of service.
Well, and Sweet Natasha has also started binding the fan fiction. She doesn't do it for profit and, none of that. So no one get mad at her or anything. But she even gifted me the ones that she made, and Preya surprised me with them when I came to visit her in Canada, and I was beside myself in joy. So, yeah, I just love that us community of girlies are all coming together and making this last forever.
It just occurred to me that if Arc 2's best couple contest was to be published as a book in our current day and age, it might be marketed as fake dating romance with other tropes as well. Fun fact, when I see some popular book tropes, I sometimes think NT walked so these tropes could run. You know
100%,
it.
100%.
180. Melanie, I agree with Preya. Your answer to why you like Romeo and Juliet guarantees you win. Lol.
Thank you.
By the way, that full circle comment regarding the Riddle's love reading was cool. I have never thought of that. Good catch. LMAO, yes, Wish-chan sure does know how to cram the fluff before things goes down. Yep, that's why we're still in Sharon's birthday. That's why I'm convinced things will go down pretty hard after Sharon's birthday special. See, Diana, we were riding the same wave.
We're all going to have to get on an emotional support Zoom call, I think, with each other.
To answer some of your questions, I'm pretty sure Kai and Malin do win. I may be misremembering, but when they're announced as winners, Kai grabs the microphone and is like, "Miho, I love you!" And That's people are confused because they're looking at Malin waiting for an answer. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that now too.
Regarding Arima and Sakura, if we're talking about Arima and Sakura time, then it's in Arc 4. But if it's Arima showing up, I believe she shows up in the play. If not, then she shows up at the Christmas party. She surprises Asuma, and it's all pretty dramatic and fun. Yes, that's very true. Sakura and Sharon dancing. They dance at the Christmas party.
You were right! You were totally right!
I remembered. Yeah. Here's the scene. He took a step back and held out a hand. May I have the honor of a dance?
Try to do a shadow voice.
That's not me. That's not gonna happen. Heart, stop pounding like an idiot, Sakura prayed as she nodded. He'll hear and laugh at me. But then, this is the first time Sharon had ever asked me to dance outside of a school play context. Those don't count. ... The song seemed to last forever, the pleasant forever, the kind where one wishes it really would never end, for they were oblivious to all except each other.
How do I not remember that?
And here I am. It's like, I think they dance at the Christmas party. I think so. Oh, they definitely do. Thank you for sharing. I wish you a cool week. So now we are at, chapter 36, part B of For There to Be a Rainbow. Another Q&A. How many questions are we allowed? I don't want to overwhelm you or Wish-chan.
All the questions.
All the questions. And especially since you missed the first wave, Diana, you get to, you can ask as many questions as you want. Fun cloud story. I was driving with family one time and we saw a cloud that looked exactly like a horse. I mean, a well-defined horse. Like there would be no way anyone would ever see anything other than a horse. That is very cool.
Wow.
Regarding the chapter, that boy did have horrible luck. I know I commented in Facebook, but I too thought the kid was a dark force. Perhaps this is the real twist in New Trials.
I wonder if it's the dark one taking different forms, and one of them is this little boy.
Oh boy. It's very Joan of Arcadia. LMAO at Moon Math. Too funny. I had that in my back pocket. I didn't know it would be that popular. Arc 2 had such a nice ending. Sigh. Not looking forward to Arc 3's ending, though. But I'm excited, too.
I'm terrified.
Well, at least, like, Arc 3 doesn't end with, like, Sakura crying in the harbor. It's like, we do have an epilogue that gives us Sharon's point of view, so it's not that hard of a blow.
Oh, man. Because it's one thing to read it, but I'm going to have to act everything out, and I'm just going to be emotionally destroyed.
A question for you two. Do you think Sharon's birthday is the last special we'll be getting before the finale? I'm going to have to say yes, because I remember back in the late 2010s, Wish-chan said she was only like 5 chapters away from finishing New Trials. So this is definitely probably the last like special chapter that we're going to get, and it's going to be all like drama from here.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially with how long this special is and how long she's taken to kind of get all her ducks in a row, so to say. Yeah, I think it'll be the last special, but as we learned from her previous Q&A, there's going to be multiple epilogues.
And that's going to be Fluff City. It has to be.
Oh, God. She better. I'm going to South Korea and we're having words. I mean, I love you and I hug you and I'll cry, but we're going to have words.
Thank you for sharing. You definitely deserve a break. You put so much time, attention, and love into this lovely project. Enjoy the hiatus. So, even though we finished reading all of her comments under the chapters and audiobooks, she's also left wonderful comments under the special bonus episodes featuring her comments. And yeah, we're not meta at all.
It's like Inception.
We're very thorough here at New Trials, the podcast.
See, guys? See what can happen when you comment constantly? Then maybe you too can get an Inception moment. So the first one we have is her comments from the bonus episode part A. So we have, thank you so much for this special. I love hearing your reactions. I wrote these comments so long ago that it feels like I'm revisiting my thoughts/reactions. Thank you for sharing the playlist with me. You're so welcome. Regarding Ryurin being an orphan. Let's see, I'm just trying to figure out. Why did you come here on such an important mission when you were the youngest? Me? His sapphire eyes glanced down. I wanted to change in life. I had no father or mother. I was sick of the Lee clan. I wanted to do something that would make everyone proud of the name Lee Ryuren. But I also wanted to prove it to myself that I could accomplish something. Chapter 12. I can't tell if he's really an orphan or if it's a figure of speech.
It can go either way. It can literally go either way, because if his dad is too, like, invested in politics, and let's say his mom is too invested in, let's say, charities, it pretty much feels like you're an only child and you have to raise yourself.
But I could also see it being literal too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry about your ex broken foot, Melanie. Ex broken foot. That's cute. Glad to know you're doing better. Also, I fangirled when you mentioned My Happy Marriage. I watched it as it aired, and I can't wait for season 2. I know, that cliffhanger. Yeah, they better do a season 2. Side note, I realized I made a mistake. I meant to say that levels 1 and 2 magicians are the highest, level 1 being the rarest. Level 5 is the lowest. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Thank you once again. You're awesome. Take care and have a wonderful weekend.
And this is her comment under the bonus special episode part B. And this one covers the New York saga. Thank you so much for the special. I love hearing your reactions and comments. At Preya, you found me through a fic I posted. It was a Tomoyo and Ariel fic of New Trials. It was spring of 2012. I fangirled so hard. I was on my laptop, saw the comments, got up from my bed, started squealing, and I started walking and skipping around my room. Took me 15 to 30 minutes to calm down to reply to you. Fond memories. I love that story. I knew it was a fanfiction.net connection, but I just couldn't remember where. And the fact that this memory is imprinted on you, oh, it makes me so happy.
Oh my God, you're just the cutest little cinnamon roll golden retriever, and now I have to meet you in person. It's going to happen.
Crying hat laughing emoji at Melanie's Dumbledore impression. Never gets old.
Poor Michael Gambon, R.I.P.
Regarding famous people, to name 3. I met my country's first female vice president while book shopping with my father when I was young. He was like, "Oh my God, go take a picture with her. This is a historical moment." And I was, who is she? I also met some Dominican actors at a school event where we had to dress up. I believe they were promoting the first Dominican superhero movie. Anyway, I had a wig and a costume, and my stepfather helped me make, and the actors complimented me. Yay! Lastly, cool. I met Jean Liu N. Yang, author of American Born Chinese and writer of the ATLA comics. Wow, I love Avatar. Wow, that's awesome.
That is so cool.
Cool. Scene of Miho telling Ariel why she began to like Sharon. You know why I began to like him? Lisan, I thought you saw him in the video in that won the contest that your uncle Tanaka-san sponsored. No, Miho paused, as if hesitant to continue. When I was still living in Japan, before Kaho-san brought me to England, there was an unseen force attacking everyone in the street.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't know what it was at the time, but because of my special powers, I knew something was amiss. As the force was about to attack me, a striking brown-haired boy jumped in front of me with the speed of lightning and slashed it away with his flashing sword. I guess I was hysterically crying at the time, and though he immediately vanished, I caught a glimpse of his eyes through my blurred sight. There were an understanding gold and amber, full of depth and sympathy, as if he could understand my sorrows, and he said quietly, "Don't stay here, it's dangerous." I felt as if I could rely on him and felt sheltered and safe. Of course he won't be able to remember me now, but I always remembered him. Wow, thanks for pulling that up.
Right.
Thanks again. This was so much fun. Wishing you a lovely week. And that's it. We did it. We read all the comments for now.
This gives you something to look forward to, because there'll probably be more, but not for a little while.
Yeah. So Melanie and I, we have some fun stuff coming up. Wish Chen has officially given us the go-ahead to send her questions.
Yay!
So a lot of you have already messaged us with your wonderful questions, so we're going to forward that to Wish Chen. And when she does reply, we're going to have another special of all the Q&A goodness.
And as of right now, in my current recording of the audiobook, I'm only on chapter 42 because Arc 3 is taking forever, but we're getting there, but we're still in hiatus mode, but we will get back to Arc 3 as soon as we can.
Well, for now, you have been listening to New Trials the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this fan fiction, where you can now listen to a completed Arc 1 and Arc 2. And we will see you when we see you. Bye!